Ford just sent shockwaves through the U.S. auto industry, slashing prices on some of its older model trucks by thousands of dollars. And it's happening fast. This isn't your average summer clearance sale. This is a full-blown industry shakeup. Dealers across the country are scrambling to react, and the competition is suddenly on high alert. We're talking about jaw-dropping discounts on popular models like the F-150, Ranger, and even some Super Duty trims from the last couple years. In some regions, incentives and markdowns are stacking up to $10,000 or more off MSRP. That's right, trucks that were selling for a premium just a year ago are now being moved at fire sale prices. And why? Inventory buildup. Ford's dealerships are sitting on mountains of unsold trucks, and the pressure to move them is real. These aren't damaged goods or unpopular configurations either. Many of these are well-equipped trims with low mileage or even brand-new leftovers from 2023 and late 2022. Ford's move isn't just about clearing out space. It's about regaining control of a market that's slipping into uncertainty. Interest rates are still high, consumer confidence is shaky, and truck buyers are holding back, waiting for better deals. So Ford just delivered those deals in a way no one expected. And now rival brands like GM and Ram are caught in a tough spot. Matching these discounts could cost them millions, but doing nothing could cost them market share. Meanwhile, Ford dealers are both relieved and panicked. On one hand, they finally have the green light to clear aging inventory and make room for the 2025 models. But on the other hand, they're watching profit margins evaporate almost overnight. Trucks they once made fat commissions on are now being flipped at near break-even prices. Or worse, losses. Some smaller dealers in rural areas are even sounding the alarm, saying these massive discounts may help the big city showrooms the most, leaving them in a tough bind. And it gets more intense when you look at how buyers are responding. Forums and social media are lighting up. Truck shoppers are rushing to dealerships or flooding their websites, looking to grab deals before they disappear. It's creating a mini frenzy, and dealers are racing to get rid of inventory before Ford changes course or trims incentives back down. The wild part? Some insiders believe this is just the beginning. If Ford sees a spike in sales from this bombshell pricing move, we could see similar discounts extend across more models, including SUVs and crossovers that have been slow to move since early this year. But there's another layer to this. The used truck market is taking a direct hit. Suddenly, 2-year-old used F-150s that were selling for $45K are being undercut by brand-new trucks, priced at $42K after discounts. That's throwing off resale values and confusing buyers. Some used dealers are now slashing prices just to stay competitive, and it's erasing the crazy inflated values that built up during the supply shortage over the past few years. What's even more interesting is how this move by Ford is reshaping dealer strategies overnight. Some are bundling the Ford discounts with their own promotions, free service plans, trade-in bonuses, or zero-down financing to boost traffic. Others are getting aggressive with trade-ins, trying to lock in buyers before they take their business somewhere else. This sudden war for volume could drive a pricing race among dealerships we haven't seen in years. And with GM and Ram likely to retaliate soon, the stage is set for a brutal summer showdown in the full-size and mid-size truck segment. The pressure is mounting. Ram dealers have already begun quietly floating bonus cash offers on select 1,500 trims, and GM insiders are reportedly preparing emergency incentives on the Silverado and Sierra. But they haven't gone public yet. Everyone's watching Ford's next move like hawks. Meanwhile, automakers are scrambling behind the scenes. Ford's decision to go this aggressive wasn't made lightly. This kind of pricing bombshell signals one thing. They're feeling the heat. Supply is up, demand is softening, and the upcoming 2025 refreshes won't sell unless this old inventory moves out now. Ford knows if they don't act fast, these trucks will sit on lots depreciating every day, draining dealer capital and choking distribution pipelines for the new models. And let's talk about what this means for truck buyers. For months, buyers were frustrated with high prices, high APRs, and little room to negotiate. That's flipped on its head. Buyers are finally back in the driver's seat. Negotiations are hot again, and deals that were impossible in 2022 or 2023 are suddenly back on the table. Even better in some cases. There are reports of customers walking into dealerships and walking out with a brand new truck, loaded, for less than they paid for a used one last year. But there's a catch. Inventory isn't evenly distributed. Not every dealer has the same trucks or the same flexibility. Some buyers are flying or driving across state lines to grab the deepest discounts, especially on high trims like the F-150 Lariat and XLT with popular packages. Others are calling around and leveraging dealers against each other to drive the price down further. It's a buyer's market for sure, but it's also a race. And Ford's competitors aren't just worried about losing truck sales. They're also watching how this might ripple across financing arms and leasing programs. If the value of current inventory tanks too fast, lease residuals take a hit, and that affects how much manufacturers have to write down. Ford Credit is playing a dangerous game here, hoping that increased volume will outweigh the risk of weakened used truck values. But if other brands follow suit, we could see a broad market correction, and that could rattle the whole financing system dealers rely on. What's even more telling is how this pricing blitz is reshaping long-term brand perception. Ford has always leaned on its Built Ford Tough image and rarely resorted to massive discounting, especially on the F-Series, its crown jewel. But this sudden turn could signal that brand power alone isn't enough in 2025's market. Consumers want value, they want flexibility, and they want action. Ford just showed they're willing to adapt quickly. The question is, will others follow, or will they gamble on loyalty and lose ground? And if this becomes the new normal, then buckle up, because the entire U.S. truck market could be in for a historic reset. If Ford's gamble pays off, if they move thousands of old stock units in record time, it sets a precedent that every automaker will be forced to confront. Incentive wars could make a comeback, and we could see the return of deep manufacturer-to-dealer rebates, low APR financing, and cash-on-the-hood deals we haven't seen since the Great Recession. But the bigger ripple might hit automaker profits. Ford already took a hit earlier this year with slowing EV sales and higher material costs. If they're willing to eat margins now just to keep trucks moving, it could mean quarterly earnings will take a dip. That's bad news for Wall Street, but possibly great news for Main Street. Because when automakers prioritize volume over margins, buyers win, at least in the short term. And let's not ignore what this says about buyer sentiment. Ford's internal data must be flashing red lights. The average truck buyer isn't walking in ready to spend $70,000 on a pickup anymore. They're cautious. They're comparing, cross-shopping, and hesitating. High interest rates have squeezed affordability, and with inflation lingering, even loyal Ford fans are hunting for deals, not badges. That's why this bombshell wasn't just about cutting prices. It's about regaining momentum, rebuilding trust, and restoring the perception that trucks can still offer value, not just brawn. On the ground, it's turning into organized chaos. Dealerships are throwing together pop-up events, late-night sales pushes, and local radio blasts to get the word out. Some are even offering free add-ons, bed liners, tonneau covers, upgraded tires, just to push buyers over the line. Others are flipping their marketing budgets toward digital, launching aggressive ad campaigns targeting buyers who gave up shopping months ago. Suddenly, every lead matters. Every foot in the door counts. And behind the scenes, sales staff are feeling the whiplash. After months of hearing, just wait for the market to cool down. Now they're sprinting to close as many deals as possible before the discounts expire or inventory dries up. Some trucks are selling within hours of being listed online. Trade-in values are fluctuating daily. It's a high-pressure, high-reward environment, and it's only going to get more intense if GM and Ram decide to throw gas on this fire. Meanwhile, analysts are warning this could lead to an overcorrection. If too many automakers jump in with similar fire sales, it risks destabilizing the market. Lease values, resale prices, even insurance risk models could be thrown off, but for now, none of that matters to the buyers walking away with $9,000 off a brand new F-150. They're just glad someone finally blinked, and the timing couldn't be more critical. With the 2025 models set to roll out this fall, including some key redesigns and hybrid upgrades, Ford had no choice but to clear the decks. They couldn't afford to have lots clogged with unsold trucks while trying to launch the next-gen lineup. So instead of easing into discounts, they dropped a sledgehammer. And now, the industry is scrambling to respond. But what happens if this discount wave backfires? If this discount wave backfires, Ford could be staring down a brutal combination of eroded brand equity, deflated residual values, and a customer base trained to wait for discounts instead of paying full price. That's the risk with moves like this. Once buyers know you're willing to slash prices this hard, it's hard to walk that back. The next time Ford tries to sell a truck at MSRP, customers may just wait it out, assuming another round of markdowns is around the corner. The real kicker is that this might just be the start of a much broader unraveling. If Ford's massive discounts succeed in clearing out inventory, but fail to bring in sustainable profits, it forces a hard question across the board. Has the American auto industry been overvaluing its own products for too long? For years, automakers rode the wave of high demand and low supply, pushing prices to record highs. Now that the tide is turning, we're seeing just how fragile that pricing structure really is. And customers aren't going to forget. They're realizing that pricing has been inflated, and that value can swing wildly based on timing, supply chain pressure, and internal automaker panic. That awareness changes buyer psychology permanently.